Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the F5 Report. My name is Joe Evangelisti. I'm your host. Today we talk about faith, family, fitness, friends, and finances. I'm joined today by my boy Joe Dillon, seven-figure wholesaler and head coach of the Elevate Coaching Group. Joey, what's up, man?
Nothing much, brother. Nothing much, man. How are you?
Fantastic. Man, you talk about like if you're gonna be quarantined, you're out. It looks like you're in Hawaii right now. We got the trees in the back. The birds
Yeah, dude. Look, I got a nice little backyard here. You know, it's funny. Like I'm still young. I mean, compared to most of the people in our industry. So I'm single and I don't have a family or anything. So I live in an apartment. So I didn't want to be locked in a freaking box for this whole time. So I actually rented out an Airbnb for pretty much since this whole thing started. So
nice. You changed up the scenery during the quarantine.
What's that?
You changed up the scenery during the quarantine.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it, man. So
yeah, man.
I want to jam pack this half hour, Joe, if you would. I know you're a big giver. I know you like to give back to the community. I know you spend a lot of time inside the wholesale coaching community. What's the environment look like right now, and what's working, what's not working? What do you see from your team and your clients that are in that industry right now in that space?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I see a lot of people that are. I think this situation has humbled a lot of people, but there's been a ton of uncertainty, and there still is, right? I mean, I think we're seeing the end of the actual quarantine itself, but obviously the repercussions are going to be drastic from here on out. I mean, people are saying that, I have a mentor who's pretty high up there. I mean, he said the repercussions will probably last 12 months, 18 months from now, even more.
Yeah.
And so, basically what I'm seeing though, obviously there are some certain clients of mine who have had record months in April and March. But that's, a lot of that was deals that have led into March and April. As far as the acquisition side, obviously there's been a big slowdown. Can you hear me all right, by the way? Just wanted to
I can hear you fine. Yeah, you're listening. Comment below if you have a problem hearing Joe. There's a little bit of feedback on my side, but we can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right, just wanted to make sure. There's birds and stuff in the backyard, so. On the acquisition side, I mean, obviously there's been a bit of a slowdown. It seems that obviously from what everybody's seeing, big slowdown on the disposition side. So, buyers are just a lot more careful, a lot more conservative with what's going on. And then the seller market hasn't caught up just yet. So there's a little bit of this gap period where obviously that, it's kind of like, it's not a seller's market. It's not a buyer's market right now. So, it's kind of that in-between period where it's harder to get contracts. Now, what I'm recommending for everybody is to obviously, you don't want to cut off your business. I mean, there's people that have done that, but I don't recommend that because this will only last for so long. Mm-hmm. So lean out, obviously, everything that you can, cut out any waste. As far as marketing goes, continue to market, but obviously be a lot more strategic with your cost-effective types of marketing. And most of my clients have been able to really cut their marketing budget by about anywhere from 40 to 70%, while still maintaining a good consistent flow. And so obviously that's what I'm seeing right now. I think the seller market will catch up. I think it'll be this month. And we've already started to see a little bit of that happening. And so yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I can agree with everything you're saying. We can relate to. I think one of the things that I want to come back and cover, because there's a lot of this is good information, right? A good friend of mine, Matt Monero, I think you know Matt as well, said something early on in this thing. He said people are going to work twice as hard for less money, right? Like I see that. I think that everything you're saying is correct. The sellers are having a hard time keeping up with the fact that this is changing for people. And, they haven't caught on to the fact that it could affect their property values. And it's twice as hard to get the buyers to commit because of alternative financing, hard money shrinking up. They're deciding to take less risk, or they're deciding to do less risky deals. They want the most meat on the bone possible, and it's just hasn't caught up in the middle for the sellers to create those gaps in order for a wholesaler to get paid for marketing efforts, right? So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Finish up.
I was gonna say, here's the good news, right? Is tough market conditions are just gonna squeeze out all of the weak competition, all of the people who did not decide to invest in coaching, all the people who did not decide to invest in masterminds, all these newer wholesalers, these newbies in the market. They're freaking out. I mean, a lot of people are underwater and probably can't sustain this business. And there's probably a lot of people who have already been knocked out. And so the good news is those people who can ride out, there's going to be a massive opportunity on the other side. And particularly the people who have really good buyers right now, and who can master their dispositions process, who can get their hands on those good qualified buyers that are going to buy, that have relationships with buyers, especially if you're taking down properties. One thing that my mentor always said was, you want to have, especially during these kind of times, funding and lending gets squeezed. So it might be a little late for this advice, but if you have relationships with investors that have money, you've been able to show them good returns on whatever properties you may have. If you're taking down properties and you're using investors' funds for that, they'll lend to you before they lend to anybody else. Now, like I said, it may be a little late for the advice. I mean, I've been giving a few pieces of advice for a while now that that obviously the people who have listened to that advice have reaped the benefits. But so those who have the best buyers are really going to do well, because there's a massive opportunity for coalhole selling, or what some people call astro flipping. What those guys kind of coined the term there, because there's a lot of people who have contracts who cannot sell their freaking contracts right now. So if you have good buyers, which there are still people buying, if you have good buyers, then there's a lot of opportunity for you to make a lot of profits right now. Again, opportunity in any market, right? So
talk to me about what your dispositions guys are doing differently than they were, 8 weeks ago. How have they changed? How are they adapting? What are they doing different?
Yeah, man. So, really it's just, it's not even rocket science, guys. It's like, it's taking this to the next level and putting more focus on it, putting more emphasis on it. Okay. I think Lee Kearney said this the other day, but I loved what he said, which is wholesaling is just day trading for real estate, right? You just got to know your market. You got to know your, what the market is paying right now. And so, just having really effective communication strategies with your with your cash buyers. And again, just really putting an emphasis on it. There are a lot of different ways to get cash buyers now, both passive and non-passive, meaning like you can buy other people's lists, you can trade for lists. And the biggest thing also is the communication with the buyers, right? And so just having an effective communication process with them overall, whether that's through text messaging, email, or the like. So, really just putting emphasis on it, not rocket science.
Now, you said earlier, and that's all good stuff too. I think a lot of dispositions folks are overthinking this thing. They're thinking they're assuming too much about the end buyer instead of asking and finding out and getting deeper on those questions and figuring out, like, hey, are you still investing? What are you investing in? What are you looking for? Getting close on the deal. But talk to me on the front side on the acquisitions, because you said, people are changing up their marketing. They're making it more effective. They're making it more efficient. And I think that in times of adversity, what's crazy is it forces us to do those things, get effective, get efficient. But we're seeing better results out of some of the things that we've kind of stepped back on. So what are your folks doing right now for marketing that's generating great leads and doing it as cheap as possible right now?
Yeah, man. So essentially, okay. So marketing, as far as targeted, cost-effective marketing in a nutshell. When you can still go broad, but you want to go broad on your low-cost marketing strategies, like text messaging, for example. I even have some clients who returned on RVM, because of this whole situation. So those are really, really cheap and really cost-effective. And so, you can still go broad. I don't really have too many clients that are doing direct mail right now. We kind of pulled back on direct mail just because it's obviously the most expensive. And they can kind of turn, I've advised them to turn it back on as soon as the market is squeezed out of the direct competition, because, you hear it all the time that people get stacks of, postcards every week from wholesalers. Now this is going to squeeze out a lot of the competition again. So, again, staying in front of their faces with text messaging and RVMs, I think is a great tool, and really just cutting back on any overall waste and expensive marketing channels. And also, as far as the lists, you can go niche, you can go deep. Stack your lists, hitting your niche lists first. If you're doing cold calling, it's, I've definitely seen a slowdown with cold calling, but it's still producing, it's just slower. And so, you just want to manage your cost per lead. You just want to really see where your cost per lead is at. And I've seen it be as high as like $120 for some people, which is really high. And so you just want to manage your cost per lead, as long as you're below. It depends what market you're in, and depends what your average deal size deal size is in your specific market. But I would say if you are below 60 to 70, cost per interested lead, then you should still be fine. But yeah, overall, just be really conscious. This whole thing has brought awareness, both on a personal level and business level, but it's brought a lot of awareness. And it's a great time to really dial in on your KPIs and your numbers, really understand your business and what's going on. And so, that's 100%. Just do your cost-effective forms of marketing. Okay. And lean out a bit. Right now is not the time to be super, super ambitious, unless you have unless you found some type of a strategy that just happens to work and you're cashing in.
Sure.
But in the general sense, just make sure that you're leaning out on your marketing. And just be smart about this, right? These are unprecedented times. So, but the seller market will catch up soon.
Absolutely. So, and I appreciate that. I think it's all great advice. I mean, for some of the investors, if you're watching this, if you're catching the replay, or if you're watching this live and you're in the real estate investing space, wholesale, retail, fix and flip, if you're a realtor, whatever you were doing in that space, if you have any questions about the investment business, how it's changed, what's being affected right now. Again, we're on the phone live here with seven-figure coach Joe Dillon, and Joe teaches wholesale all around the country. Ran a seven-figure wholesale team for a long time, right? And so has tons of background in how to create opportunity, especially in this type of adversity. So make sure you post your questions below. We'll try to get them answered. And if you're feeling really frisky at 8 a.m., you can hop on the phone live with us if you want to get your questions answered live. Got a couple more minutes left here, Joe. So your teams that are continuing to close in this adversity, I hear slow down, dial in your marketing, get better conversations, communicate better with the disposition side. Are the spreads still there? Are people still closing deals consistently? And they get hung up on title issues? What's the temperature around the country? Because you're teaching people nationwide.
Yeah, for sure. So basically what I'm seeing is that obviously the spreads are thinner, right? I mean, we have people that have gone from 23,000 down to 13, right?
Mhm.
And we have people that have gone from, let's say, 13 down to 9 or 8.
Mhm.
So it is getting squeezed. But like I said, this is not, if you can make it through this time, right? Which again, this is advice that is a little too late for right now, but for next time,
Mhm.
always prepare, always have at least 4 to 6 months. Usually I want you to be on the end of 6 months of capital reserves, monthly expenses, essentially is what I'm saying. So you can weather storms like this and you're not worried. And so, all of my clients, they're in a good position. They're in a great position right now.
Mhm.
And it's awesome to see that, because it's been the fruits of what we've been teaching this whole time. And so yes, it will catch up. The spreads are smaller. The market will catch up soon. I'm hoping, right? None of us really know, but I mean, I think with all these the lockdown ending, people going back to work, it will catch up a little bit. But here's the thing, though. So again, just want to emphasize this: those who can withstand this there will be a lot of opportunity on the other side. So
Absolutely. And don't stop marketing, right? Slow your marketing.
Don't stop marketing,
Don't stop, because you still have to have lead flow coming in. You're going to have twice as many conversations, but they're going to convert. There's a lot more effort has to be put on in the front end and the back end to put a deal together. But this too shall pass, right, Joe?
Absolutely, yeah. As everything will.
That's right. That's right. So, Joe, what else? What other secret tactics are you hiding? What are the things that we didn't cover? That wholesalers can use to be effective in this time.
Yeah, man. To be honest, as far as secret tactics, I mean, really, you just want to lean out. I think one of the things on the acquisition side is playing good cop, bad cop as far as your acquisitions person or even yourself. You can allude to any market data that's going on right now to encourage or entice any hot leads that right now is the time to sell, because the market is only going to go down, right? And so because we're at the top of the height of the market, and it's going down, it's going to have drastic, obviously, effects on the economy, and you can enlighten them. Again, they're sellers and they don't really know this world. They don't know what's going on. So the more that you can enlighten them on that, and really start to talk to them on that level. It might not work immediately, but don't think that it's not working. They may call you back next week or in 2 weeks. When, let's say, whatever, they might be a restaurant business owner. They might be in the food and beverage industry. They might be in the hospitality industry, and all those industries are getting crushed right now. They're getting crushed, and so there's going to be a ton of people that are going to get laid off, or that don't have jobs, or whose businesses are failing. And so stay in front of them. Stay in front of them. And let them know that the market is going down. And so right now is the best time to sell. And the thing about the good cop, bad cop is, if you have an acquisitions person calling for you, then you can even let them know, hey, I've been talking with my boss a lot, and he says that right now is we're really only going to be able to offer these this amount. Our prices are changing weekly, almost even daily sometimes. And so and I've seen a downward trend. So to be honest, Mr. Seller, if I were you, I would sell now if you're thinking about selling. No pressure, but just want to let you know. Right? That way, you're putting light pressure, but it's not coming from you.
No, I like that. And I think a lot of people, what they're not doing is they're not talking about the future enough. Like, you got to remember, guys, if you're in this industry, we're about creating a solution for the seller. You can't give them what they need if you don't talk to them about what they want. And what they want is to sell. What they want is the proceeds to do whatever that thing is, right? They're going to take money and they're going to move. They're going to take the money. They're going to buy a boat. They're going to take the money and put a kitchen in for the wife. Like selling them on what they want But what they need to do that is the proceeds from the property, right? And sometimes those two things they're a little bit apart, right? They think they need to walk with 50 grand to put the kitchen in. Well, maybe they're going to make 30 grand, but they're still going to get a nicer kitchen. It's just not quite the level that they want it to be at, right? But they're still going to get a solution. They're still going to get a new kitchen. So, and creating a win-win-win where you, the seller, and the buyer all make money and everybody's happy. Creates difficult, deeper dive conversations where we got to ask a lot more questions, right?
Yeah, man. And real quick, as far as another strategy, I want to touch back on the coalhole selling. And, you can talk to a lot of network with a lot of wholesalers in your area. Right now, should be the time that you are working with other people, that you are getting through this together, that you're masterminding with other people, whether it's in your market or outside of your market. But if it's in your market, you can, again, dial in your dispo process if you haven't already. And just see what deals they have. I have clients that they basically formed a little little mastermind within their market, and they all post their deals, and then there's wholesale opportunity there, right? Sorry about the noise in the back, but there's wholesale opportunity there, and so make sure you do that. Like that alone, you can make enough money to cover your monthly expenses, and then everything that you make from your own deals is just profit.
I think it's such a huge piece because you have to have an abundance mindset to dial into that, right? But our team just crushes it on that side because we're great at dealing with buyers. And of course, what happens when you're a new wholesaler, you're taught and you train and you figure out how to get the deal under contract, but you spend no time figuring out how to get rid of it, right? So what Joe's saying makes so much sense. Talk to your competition, help become a partner to them. You both make money, you both get paid. It's an industry where, it's a very small industry, first of all. If you screw somebody, you generally aren't going to do it very many times before you're not doing deals anymore, right? But, if you can work together and you can work openly and you can try to both, profit from it, use, a lot of times people are better with the buyers, better with the sellers. Link up with somebody that has opposite positive, reaction with the group that they're with, and put those two things together and get paid. I think it's huge. People should be spending this time right now, Joe, in my opinion. First of all, if you don't have a coach, you don't have a group, you don't have a mastermind, get in one, find one, grow from there, right? But second of all, just starting to join Facebook group, every Facebook group that says wholesale or real estate investment or real estate trade or whatever in your area. You should be looking at those groups constantly. Hey, I saw a deal there. I got a buyer that would buy that thing, and reach out, right? Don't assume that these people don't want to help you do business, right?
Absolutely, and and also just from a personal side, it's just way more fucking fun. It's way more fun when you're doing this with other people, when you can mastermind with other people. Entrepreneurship is, especially if you're the sole owner, it's a freaking lonely journey. It can be. Let me put it that way. It can be, right? And so it's cool when you meet other people that understand that, and you can vibe on that. And especially if they're good people, then you can make money together and you can do business together. Even if you don't do business together, it's always great to just mastermind. A lot of inspiration, a lot of a lot of new ideas, a lot of innovation often comes from a conversation with other people, and you're like, whoa, I just thought of this, or I just thought of that. This is a great thing to add to my business. So
sometimes I think it's also just a great thing to remind yourself of stuff that you already do. You get into a group and you're like, hey, this is working. You're like, oh shit, I used to do that. Why did I stop? Maybe I should go back to that again, right? Like knowing what's happening in today's market is so key to being successful. So I hope you guys got some good takeaways from that. Joe, I want to be respectful of your time. Anything I missed? Anything else that we didn't cover? How do people reach you? To talk to you about.
If you're a high level investor or wholesaler, by the way, I wanted to just shoot this out there. I have a mastermind that I actually started, and it's all high level wholesalers from around the nation, and so far it's been incredible. We've given so much value, and the people have provided each other with so much value, as far as cool things that they're doing right now, and it's been awesome. It's been amazing. So if you're a high level, wholesaler, you have a team. Pretty much everybody there has a team. Let me know. Reach out. Right. We actually do have an in-person scheduled for June. But yeah, we'd love to have you on. But anyhow, if any of that tickles your fancy, hit me up. You can find me on Facebook. Just I think I'll be tagged here, right? So you can just click my name and shoot me a message. Or Instagram, Joe Dillon official. And those are pretty much the two main platforms. Just I'm pretty open.
Awesome.
So you can just hit me up there. I'm happy to help too. I'm happy to help. One thing that this whole COVID thing has shown me is all right. So I'm gonna get personal on the personal side here for a second, if that's
Let's
all right.
do it. Yeah.
Because that's been the biggest transformation is on the personal side. Because I realized how much of this capitalistic world that I was in when the COVID hit, right? Because one thing that this has really given us is the beauty and gift. It's been a gift, this whole thing. It's been such a gift of awareness. And at least for those who have their ears open and those who are actually paying attention, if you come out of this doing the exact same things that you were doing before, having the exact same mentality, the exact same perspective, then you really haven't learned anything. You really haven't learned, haven't changed anything. Then this whole thing was for nothing. I believe that this was a divine gift to really make you slow down, make you aware of what's going on. Because for me, I was totally in the whole capitalistic, selfish gain, world, which let's be honest, like this, this whole world kind of breeds that within people. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful change because I saw a massive 180 in that, because I realized pre-COVID that I was just all about, and it's hard not to be in this mentality, but I was all about like, okay, how can I grow my business? How can I make more money? And, just speaking honestly, I think most people say like, oh, live purposefully and help as many people as you can. And I think there's a lot of people who do that, but there's also a lot of people that, it's hard to not stay focused on the bottom line. And then when you're making money, it's like, okay, how can I make more money, right? And so one thing that's massively shifted for me is just that what my business means to me. And so I've honestly made that shift to where like I've made enough money in my life, and I was just caught up in the perpetual, you can even call it a hamster wheel. It's a bigger hamster wheel than the job, than a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
It's still a fucking hamster wheel, man. And so and so especially like, most, I would say 90% of entrepreneurs, most all entrepreneurs get into entrepreneurship for the freedom, and probably 2 to 3% of them actually get to taste it. Yeah. And so it's just a bigger freaking hamster wheel, right? And it's more, it may be more money, but it was still there. And so I've drastically shifted what my business means to me to where I'm legitimately this time not doing it for money, and I'm just going to operate my businesses from a place of service, and like, how can I actually help the world? How can I serve the world? Because one thing that this whole thing has done for me is been able to wake up and kind of see, okay, what the hell is the point in all this? And I realize like we're missing a lot of community. Community is huge, and that's been totally lacking, especially in this country and this time right now. And those who are travelers, you can really blatantly see that if you go to a collectivist type of society in another country. But yeah, so that's one thing that's shifted for me, and I encourage anybody here to really just dial in what your business means to you, and not make it so much about you, but how you can help, right? And how you can help the other people, the people that you're serving, and also ultimately how you can help the world, so.
I love it, man. That last minute and a half was fire. I'm telling you, I think that this is nature's reset switch. I know there's a lot of people suffering, a lot of businesses hurting, but the reality of it is, for a lot of people, this was kind of necessary and needed wake up call. So I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on the show today, folks.
Absolutely, brother.
Care about. If you enjoyed it, if you found value, just share it with people on your wall. Share with people in your life that need to hear what Joe D just had to say. Joe, appreciate you on the show, bro.
Absolutely, brother. Talk soon, my man.
Later.